Peace, welcome, greetings. Today we're going to do some readings. It's going to be, I can try to go fast. So, what we're going to be reading is The Ways of the Noble Family, instructions, and it's in Old English, so listen carefully. Have your Wiktionary open to look up words, because we don't use these types of words no more. But it's going to give you a lot in a smallest amount of words as possible. So we're talking about unseen things of deeper thought. So let's begin, so it won't be so long. Give ear, fair daughter of love, to the instruction of prudence, and let the precept of truth sink deep in thy heart. And I already look up prudence. Just wait, this is an example of what you do when you reading this. You go take these words: quality or state of being prudent, wisdom in the way of caution and provision, discretion and carefulness, judiciousness. But we ain't gonna do that. I just give you an example. Use Wiktionary and try to find modern synonyms. Let the precepts of truth sink deep in thy heart. So shall the charms of thy mind add luster to the elegance of thy form. And thy beauty, like the rose it resembles, shall retain its sweetness when it blooms. When its bloom is withered with age. In the spring of thy youth, in the morning of thy days, when the eyes of men gaze on thee with delight, and nature whispereth in thy ear the meaning of their looks, hear with caution their seducing words. Guard well thy heart, nor listen to their soft persuasions. We're talking to the women at this point. Remember, thou art made man's responsible companion. That's what woman was made, not the slave of his passion. The end of thy being is not merely to gratify his loose desires, but to assist him in the toils of life, to soothe his heart with thy tenderness, and recompense his care with soft endearments. Who is she that winneth the heart of man, that subdueth him to love, and reigneth in his breast? Lo, yonder she walks in maiden sweetness, with innocence in her mind, and modesty on her cheek. Her hand seeketh employment, her foot delights not in the gadding abroad. She is clothed with neatness. She is fed with temperance. Another good word to go further into. Humility, another one, and meekness, another one, are as a crown of glory circling her head. On her tongue dwelleth music. The sweetness of honey flows from her lips. And you see, these things is metaphysical in nature. When you talk about her on her tongue is music. It's just like her words is pleasant to the ear, even with conversation and other things. Also, the sweetness of honey, using those type of parables, like decency is in all her words, and her answers are mildness and truth. And again, we dealing with lessons for princesses, but it's like just living a noble life. So take it for lessons. Submission and obedience are the lessons of her life, and peace and happiness are her reward. So her submission and her obedience is for her peace and happiness. Before her steps walketh prudence, and virtue attains at her right hand. Her eye seeketh softness and love, but discretion with a scepter sitteth on her brow. The tongue of the licentious is dumb in her presence. The awe of her virtue keeps him silent. And that's so true. You got, I call a woman intimidating, and a lot of men think she too sophisticated or something like that, but it's just her virtue. When scandal is busy, and the fame of her neighbors is tossed from tongue to tongue, of charity and good nature opens not her mouth. The finger of silence rests on her lip. Her breast is the mansion of goodness, and therefore she suspecteth no evil of others. Happy were the man that should make her his wife, happy the children that should call her mother. She presides in the house, and there is peace. And you see, she presides like a president. She commands with judgment and is obeyed. She arises in the morning. She considers her affairs. She appoints to everyone their proper business. The care of her family is her whole delight. To that alone she applies her study. And elegance with frugality is seen in her mansion. Queen-like qualities. The prudence of her management is an honor to her husband. He hears her praise with a secret delight. She informs the minds of her children with wisdom. She fashioned their manners from the examples of her own goodness. And we will get to that at the end of this. How she sowing the seeds of character in her children. The words of her mouth is the law of their youth. The motion of her eye commands their obedience. She speaks and the servants fly. She points and the things is done. For the law of love is in their hearts, and her kindness add wings to their feet. And similar to my grandmother. In prosperity she is not puffed up. In adversity she heals the wounds of fortune with patience. The troubles of her husband are alleviated by her counsels, her advices, and chastisements and agendas, and sweetened by her endearments. He puts his heart in her bosom and receives counsel. Happy is the man that made her his wife, happy the child that called her mother. Now we get to the man. Take unto thyself a wife, and obey the ordinance of Allah, God, the Most High, your higher self. Take unto thyself a wife, and become a faithful member of society. But examine with care, and fix not suddenly. On thy present choice depends thy future happiness. If much of her time is destroyed in dress and adornment, if she is enamored with her own beauty, and delighted with her own praise, if she laugheth much and talketh loud, if her foot abides not in her father's house, and her eyes with boldness rove on the faces of men, though her beauty were as the sun in the firmament of heaven, turn thy face from her charms. And again, all this is metaphysical, really. Right? Because we all got our own delights and desires and how we want in a woman or man, vice versa. But he using things like the sun and the firmament of the heaven to be, as she can be the most beautiful to your eyes. You still gotta watch other things before you turn thy face from her charms, turn thy feet from her paths, and suffer not the soul to be ensnared by the allurements of imagination. Not easy to do. She don't make it easy to do. But when thou findest sensibility of heart, joined with softness of manners and accomplished mind, with a form agreeable to thy fancy, and you see how he put a form agreeable to thy fancy last. And these days we put that first in choosing a mate, the outside looks. But he put that last because we dealing with unseen things. Take her home to thy house. She is worthy to be thy friend, thy companion in life, the wife of thy bosom. O cherish her as a blessing sent to thee from heaven. Let the kindness of thy behavior endear thee to her heart. She is the mistress of thy house. Treat her therefore with respect, that thy servants may obey her. Speaking to a prince. Oppose not her inclination without cause. She is the partner of thy cares. Make her also the companion of thy pleasures. Yeah, you better make her a companion of the pleasures too. She'll go find it somewhere else. Reprove her faults with gentleness. Exact not her obedience with rigor. Like, don't try to make your queen a slave. She's your queen, not your slave. Trust thy secrets in her breast, which is in her heart. Her counsels are sincere. Thou shalt not be deceived. Be faithful to her bed, for she is the mother of thy children. When pain and sickness assault her, let thy tenderness soothe her affliction. A look, that's all, just a look from thee of pity and love shall alleviate her grief, or instigate her pain and be more avail than 10 physicians. You can make it worse, or you can heal her just with care. Consider the tenderness of her sex and delicacy of her frame, and be not severe to her weakness, but remember thy own imperfections. Children, and they will be done. Consider thou art a parent, the importance of thy trust, the being thou hast produced, it is thy duty to support. Upon thee also it depends whether the child of thy bosom be a blessing or a curse to thyself, and useful or a worthless member to the community. And again, we're talking about these communities and stuff, and we talk as in these are noble family. Those people and always took leadership in their surroundings, control, mastery of their surroundings. That's what made them nobility. Control of the house and community. But you can see how these lessons is the reason why, not the title. You know, we call ourselves king, queen, prince, princess, and all that. But you know, we can see that some of these aspects is still in our family. Now we've been raised with some of these understandings. But it's always good to go look back and see those lessons, right? Prepare him early with instruction. Right? You instructing your children, you give them instructions. Let's continue. And season his mind, her mind, with the maxims of truth. I read a few maxims of truth in some of my videos on the channel. Watch the bent of his inclination, set him right in his youth, and let no evil habit gain strength with his years. So shall his rise like a cedar tree on the mountains. His head shall be seen above the trees of the forest. You know, he equating that with sowing seeds, nurturing. And it's really for the mother. She the first teacher and nurturer of children, and these lessons were really for her. The father lesson come afterwards when he gets to a certain age, start going into manhood training, basically learning the bow houses and shit like that. That's why you only see Joseph coming to the scene until Esau became older, and he going, first thing he did in his scene and start burning the house with him. But Mary already been getting these lessons from her schools, and she be giving them to Esau until he gets a certain age to go to the father. They show that metaphysically on Boys in the Hood. He going to the father later. Say so. Shall he rise like a cedar tree in the mountains? His head shall be seen above the trees of the forest. A wicked son is a reproach to his father, but he that does right is an honor to his gray hairs. The soil is thine own, let it not want cultivation. The seed which thou sowest, that also shalt thou reap. So you see, he's talking about sowing habits and ways at a very young age. Teach him obedience, and he shall bless thee. Teach him modesty, and he shall not be ashamed. So we've seen that we're dealing with unseen things, but throughout life, people have no shame, people have no modesty and obedience and stuff like that, and it be of age. And you always wonder if they even been taught these things. Teach him gratitude, and he shall receive benefits. Teach him charity, and he shall gain love. Teach him temperance, and he shall have health. Teach him prudence, and fortune shall attain him. Teach him justice, and he shall be honored by thy world. Teach him sincerity, and his heart shall not reproach him. That's a very important one. Teach him diligence, and his wealth shall increase. Teach him benevolence, and his mind shall be exalted. Teach him science, and his life shall be useful. Teach him religion, and his death shall be happy. So we're done with this video, and I'll see you in the next one. The next one we're going to talk about virtuous woman from my point of view. So see you in the next one. Peace.